Hey, it's Charlie at Charlie's Flybox, and lo and behold, it's December 1st. Even though you might think it's wintertime, it is still, as evidenced by my shirt, very autumnal outerwear this time of year.
He looks like a pumpkin.
It's still fall. Pumpkin was a little mean. Wow. We're also taking applications for social media managers. But while we're at it, we're going to talk about flies for December. There's, it is getting wintertime-ish. I don't think we've officially reached that yet, but it is sort of the kind of low water, cold water, shorter time period of good fishing through the day. But there is good fishing to be had still. Particularly, Max and I were just talking. It seems like the guys that are doing a lot of fishing in December are either very serious guys or beginners. And I would argue that don't know any better, that you go out in December because you feel like you got to do it. But I also did that in my youth when I didn't know any better, and I caught a lot of fish. And it's just a different kind of fishing, kind of slower pace. I like to kind of go on a tailwater, find a big fish and fish to it. Kind of, you're not getting tons of bites through the day. They just don't have to eat as much in that colder water. There's not as many bugs as available. But there are days, that being said, there are days where they're eating pretty good, and you can really catch them up. But generally speaking, it's not going to be as hot as it would be, at other times of year, warmer times of year. The name of the game in the wintertime, now I'm saying winter, even though I've got this orange pumpkin colored shirt on. On the January video, I'll have something more icy, winter colored.
Should get like a White Walker costume.
Like a White Walker costume?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to work a fat joke in there.
Nope.
No, that's good. Not two in a row.
That'll be year 4 here at Charlie's Fly Box.
Yeah, I don't think you'll last year 4. There won't be a year 4. So for the 5 flies for December, I have made no preface of where to start here. I'm going to start because this is my sort of quintessential wintertime fly, and this is usually what I've got on in the wintertime with something else. This is a poison bomb. This is the jigged version of a poison tongue, specifically in the blue-gray color. That fly is what I would tie on first. I'd put something else down behind it. The reason I like this fly, this blue-gray color, when I first came up with the original poison tongue, it was not... it was sort of a trial and error thing. I was kind of playing with some blue, and I had some flies that were all very, very blue, and some that were sort of pared down blue. And I found, as I fished those flies, the flies that were too blue, the fish actually ran from. The flies that had just the right amount of blue, which ended up being the poison tongue, that had just the right amount of blue, really, really pulled fish from a long way away. I've never seen fish move as far for a fly as I have seen them move for a blue poison tongue. The bomb version, like I say, is just the jig version. But I don't know that this shows up to the fish as blue, but it certainly shows up better than other colors. I seriously have seen fish move 10 or 12 feet, veer off to eat a blue fly. They definitely see it. The first times I threw it at fish, I thought I was spooking them. I thought I maybe hit them with the fly, and they raced over and ate the fly. So like I say, I don't know that they see it as blue, but it definitely shows up better to them. This fly, of course, comes in other colors. Comes in brown, comes in olive, comes in black. You can tie it in whatever color you like. It's got a jig bomb bead on it, so it's an oversized bead. It's a heavy fly, little tiny bug. I find this fly works best under overcast sky. If you've got low light, either evening or the flat wintertime light like we've got, that kind of light this fly works very well in. I have heard people say they fish it in bright sun and catch a lot of fish on it. I've never had that happen to me. Overcast days, this is the first thing that I put on. So that would stay, as I look through this pile of flies, this would stay on my rig with everything else behind it. This would be my first fly.
There you go.
Beyond that, let's go old school. Jujubee midge. This is one of my first 3 patterns with Umpqua. This was 20-something years ago. Jujubee midge. It used to be called a super midge because I tied it out of super hair, but Umpqua didn't like that name. So now we call it a Jujubee midge. If you haven't tied them, they're a fun fly to tie. It's a little tricky. It takes a little bit of practice to learn to do it, but well worth doing it. It's got good little striations. This is a red one. Again, you can tie these or buy these in a variety of colors. Red seems to be a very popular wintertime color. Max and I were just talking about this. Red is not a huge color for me. It's not a fly. I have had days where red is the color, but it's not my super confidence color in a midge. Which is strange when I say that because a 2-bit hooker in red is one of my very favorite flies of all time. But in a midge, red is not the primary color that I go to, but a lot of people do, and a good wintertime color, I think. But just skinny little midge pupa is what that is. And that's evidenced by the wing case and the swollen thorax. Midges just get a little fatter toward their front end. That's a skinny little bug, no flash, nothing sparkly shiny about it, which I think is a good way to go in the wintertime. You just want something drab and bland, just a little black pepper maybe, but not nothing spicy, no jalapenos in there. Save that for when they're being a little more aggressive about it. I think something drab, bland like that doesn't throw up any red flags and just kind of gets eaten as the next bug in line. So skinny little jujubee, and you can tie this. I think this is a 16 or 18. Probably an 18. These go down to 22s. You can tie them very small. They're very skinny. They look just like a real bug, and they get eaten. And have gotten eaten for years and years. I couldn't even tell you how many fish I've caught on this fly. A lot. More than 4.
There you go.
More than 4.
It's a good day.
Let's see, what's next? How about John Easton's Blindside midge? This one comes in gray, purple, and black, I think, is the colors. This is the gray version that I've got here in my little mitts. Very subtle little bit of UV flash in there. Again, skinny little bug, a little bit of ostrich trail behind the bead. A small 1.5 millimeter tungsten bead on it, so it's got some weight to it, but it doesn't oversize everything. Those little ostrich trail filaments kind of wave around in the water, so you got a little movement, which is great for a fly like this, because in the wintertime you're generally fishing slower pools. They're not usually moved up into riffles, and maybe for a very narrow part of the day, but usually you're fishing a longer run kind of thing. So a fly that's got a little movement that's built into it is not a bad idea. That would be a good bet as well. Honestly, for December or any of the upcoming winter months through, all the way through March for sure.
That's a popular fly. I did a Instagram video like 2 weeks ago where I put together a little tailwater box,
Yes.
and I said, comment what I should add to this or whatever, and I got 3 or 4 people who all said that fly.
And this is a Colorado fly. This comes from John Easton's down from the Springs. That's a Colorado tailwater fly. Yeah,
sweet.
Yeah, perfect for it. And you can tell it was designed by somebody who actually does that. Skinny little bug. Good looking fly.
There you go.
What else we got? Oh, lo and behold, somehow all these flies end up being mine.
You're very good at designing tailwater flies.
Weird.
I mean, you're good at designing.
There's a lot of tailwaters around here.
It's hard to get away. I sit up there and I look through the bins and I try to
find
not
other
just
flies.
load up.
There are some
craven
other
patterns for these.
I'll find for January. I'll find somebody else's
Contrary to people,
I've got 3 other flies. So of our 5 flies, we actually have 7. And 4 of the 7 are mine. So there's 3 that are not mine. So
Look
I
at
think that's pretty
Good for
fair.
us.
Pretty fair and even.
They're just hard to argue against.
It is. I agree. And we'll have if you haven't seen our podcast, you should watch that. But we'll have some kind of podcast thing about that. How you just kind of design your spiel, your shtick of what you're going to fish, and that's what works for you because you fish those flies the way you fish them. They're designed for that. Yeah. Which brings me to the 2-bit midge. 2-bit midge, as you might infer, has 2 beads on it, just like all the other 2 bits. 2 1.5 millimeter beads. In the case of this red one, it's got a red body and a red bead with a silver bead at the head. I'm a big fan of silver beads in general. A little bright spot, a little white spot at the front. Skinny little bug, still very heavy. That's, again, you're usually, those fish don't move around a lot during the winter. If they're glued to the bottom, you want your fly to stay down there. That does not infer that I would fish this fly just by itself with no additional weight. You need additional weight. This will just keep it down along the bottom a little bit more with those 2 beads on it. So heavy little fly. If you were fishing a dry dropper rig, not that you would necessarily do that in December, but during the summer months or other months of the year, that would be a fly that you could hang under a small dry as well.
I think like a short leash style rig or wool indicators in the riffles, that is a fantastic point fly.
As a point fly, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
and it still gets eaten, but drop a little top secret or something like that behind it.
Something slimmer and skinnier and darker and drabber. Yep. This comes in, gosh, a pile of colors. I couldn't even tell you all of them because I tie all of them.
Yeah, blue, brown, olive.
Blue, brown, olive.
I'll have them up on the screen.
Red.
Yeah. Brown's probably my favorite. That brown is a killer.
Me too. Yeah, brown is a killer. Brown is often overlooked. Everybody thinks of black beauties. Brown flies, top secrets. I tie a brown Jujubee. I don't know if that one's still available. It used to be.
I don't know. The Jujubees are like in flux, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones up there. Yeah, brown's a good color too. Yeah. You could fish red if you're a red guy. I'm a red guy, just not for midges. I already told you that. And just to round out my Charlie Craven signature fly selection is this one's red also.
I picked all red ones.
You
so
picked
they'd be
all
easier
red.
for you to see.
Easy for me to see?
Yes.
That was nice of you.
Yes, I put 18s in red.
Looking out for Gramps. This is
Your words, not mine.
A little bit. This is a red little bit. So little bit also has two 1.5 millimeter beads. In this case, on this one, it's red. Also comes in brown, olive, blah blah blah, all bunch of other colors. Skinny little mayfly profile. Good combo to pair up with a midge. A little mayfly, a little midge, especially early in the morning. This time of year, we're not too far beyond mayflies where they're not seeing them so much. They're still around. That's a good little profile. Slender little bug, super simple. Not a lot to slow down the sink rate on it, but it'll get down and get where it needs to be to get eaten. Also a surprisingly tough little bug because it's coated in resin. So great little wintertime fly. As far as, just because I'm on that subject, when we're talking about tough flies, if you're getting your flies chewed up in the wintertime, where you're catching fish and your fly is coming apart, it's probably because you're pulling that little tiny fly out with your forceps. If you pinch your barbs where you can pull the fly out with your fingers, your flies will last a lot longer. There's just a little fly saving tip for you. But that little stuff, when invariably it's stuck in a hard part of their jaw, and if you've got to grab it with your forceps, you're probably going to tear your fly up, even if it's coated in resin. So you can take me for that. That tip that's going to be a $2 tip, I think. Less than the price of a fly.
Bargain. Bargain.
Countering all those tariffs, we've just saved you a little bit of money.
Wow.
We're in this for you. Maybe my favorite fly sitting here out of this bunch, because it's a dry fly, is a Morgan's midge. This is actually sort of a, I don't know that I'd say complicated, but complicated for a midge pattern. It's got a little trailing shuck, little CDC wing, little tiny hackle on it that goes all the way around, so you can use this as a kind of a skating skittering midge. You can also use your nippers and trim that hackle flat on the bottom so it sits low. Any day of the year during the winter, any day of the winter, you could go down to Decker's, and if you look around in the back Idian foam lines, you'll find some fish that are rising. This would be a great fly to throw at them. This fly is also pretty easy to see, which is something to be said for small midges. It's a fairly dark fly, but that little CDC tuft that it's got on top of it keeps it floating and makes it a lot more visible than you think it might be. Fish like to eat those bugs on top. There are a lot of them available, and if you look around, you can find them. You don't have to go down and nymph fish. You could go down and just tie a dry fly on and just go pick your spots and move around a little bit and find the fish that are eating dries, and get some pretty cool dry fly fishing. I've done a fair bit of that during the winter. It's not I live fairly close to Decker, so I can get over there and fish for a couple hours just during the the heat of the day, and that's usually where you'll find some midges hatching. So a Morgan's midge is a great little option for that. And then obviously you can all guess who picked Russ Miller's micro meat in white. Might be our jig streamer aficionado. I think, was it Jaron? Was it Sam? Oh no, it was you, wasn't it?
It was me.
It was you.
Yep.
Max likes a little jig streamer in a light color in the wintertime.
The low-hanging, Max likes a micro meat.
Oh yeah, Max does like a micro meat.
Come on,
I don't think
how do you
anybody.
miss that
I don't
one?
think anybody was under any misconceptions about that. I don't even think we needed to point that out. Everybody at home has already said that. Max likes the micro meat, a little white micro meat. It's not surprising at all.
I do.
Light colored fly, so you can see it. Slowly fished along edges and kind of worked around rocks. You've heard him describe it ad nauseum. It works. You can't argue with it. It is not nymphing, which is also something you can't argue with.
Dude, that's the key thing. It's not nymphing.
It's not streamer fishing.
But it's not nymphing.
Closer to Euro nymphing is what it is. Yeah, closer. Just depends on how close you want to get to that. If you like that sort of thing, that would be the fly for you. But I've seen him do it. That is an effective technique.
My two selling points on that in the winter: visual eats, and it keeps you moving.
Keeps you moving.
You don't have to sit in a spot
Stand in a
and
spot and watch
just
your arm.
die in the cold.
Yep. Yeah. Great
It
point.
keeps the blood
Great
flowing.
point. This is from Russ Miller from Umpqua, and this fly has got I think a is it a 5.5?
It's
tungsten
ridiculous.
Bead?
That is
You can't
ridiculous
see it because
bead.
it's kind of buried inside this collar, but it's got a giant tungsten bead on it. So it's a very heavy fly that lets you kind of probe it in along.
Dude,
the
I
rocks
tried
along
to
the
I
edges.
tried to fish that thing as a second fly in a 2-fly rig out of a boat one day. Dude, it was just pulling that thing down. It was ridiculous.
And odds are whipping you in the head at
Yes,
some point.
it was kind of scary.
Yeah, for a small little profile fly, that's a very heavy fly. It's probably got lead in it too. I don't know for sure that it does, but I bet it does. So pretty heavy little fly, but yeah, that's a little minnow, and not a leech pattern, you know, a little bait fishy kind of thing. So again, kind of straying from the norm a little bit. The leech, not to say that the leech wouldn't work, but a little bait fish is a pretty effective way to go about it as well. So micro meat, that comes in a lot of colors too.
Comes in purple, olive, and white.
Purple, olive, and white. It comes in 3 colors. Is that all?
Yeah. As of right now, I guess.
Brown. It comes in brown. I thought
4
so.
colors? 4
Yeah,
colors,
I
sorry.
think, yeah, I thought it came in brown. You pick what you like, but I would probably go with the lighter color always, just because you can see it. And I'm greedy, and I like to watch them eat it. And I think you'd enjoy that as well. So that's another $1.50 tip. Fish the light colored fly. I'll share that with Max. I'll give him 75 cents of that.
Ooh,
so now you're up to $3.50. You get 75 cents.
Look at that. Christmas bonus.
Capitalism at its best. There you go. There's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/5 flies for December. You got anything to add?
I don't.
I don't
It's
think anybody's
December.
I don't think anybody's upset about that.
It's
It is
just-
December. I know everybody's busy. We have all got a lot going on, but if you get a day to kind of just get out and get away from it all for a minute, you don't have to go all day. It doesn't have to be an 8-hour day. Go out and get a couple hours of fishing in. Just keeps you happy and sane, and maybe a more pleasant person to be around. Look at me. There you go. Thanks for watching.
I was going to say insufferable after 3 months of no fishing.